Oh, yes, you are welcome back to African Colonization TV and Biafran History. Here we'll give you everything that happens around the world, Nigeria and Biafra land. So, this time America have come with a heavy blow to the Nigerian government. For some people, they may be thinking that the Donald Trump he has forgotten Nigeria. The answer is that he has not forgotten Nigeria, and everything is still going the way they plan. So just that they are still in the Iran war and they're looking a way out. So as it is now, former U.S. ambassador, he has now hit, hit the point. In fact, this time he comes with a heavy blow to the Nigerian government and to everyone who keep claiming and they who keep claiming that Nigeria is indivisible. So according to what he said here. He said, finally, according to the title, says, finally, American move for the division of Nigeria. If this insecurity did not stop and buying of Christian did not stop, the best way is to divide the country. Coming from the former U.S. ambassador. So, according to him, he said that if the insecurity that is ravaging Nigeria as it is today, if it did not stop and if the government did not find a way to stop it, that the best way it is to split the country and it will cause a lot of bloodshed and it will lead to the final division of this country. So don't skip any part of it. Everything he said it here is the one that said it, and in fact he speak it open and clear to the government and to everyone for them to understand what they are doing and for them to do and they make sure that they put an end to this insecurity and to this menace that is happening everywhere in Nigeria. Because as you can see today, Nigeria is not a safe place. Nigeria is now the worst, the most deadliest place for the Christian to be in the world. So, in fact, a lot is going on. A lot is going on. And Tinubu himself, he did not care. What he knows is that to be traveling to UK, around the world, and then to be going to the place where they will be telling him that Nigeria is indivisible. That and then the worst part of it is that those places he's traveling to, they are not even giving him option or a way to solve the problem in Nigeria. So, in fact, as you're about to watch, like, subscribe, make sure you share it for others to see the thing that is going on in the country.
Not the most deadly place on the planet to be a Christian in Nigeria. That's not going to be able to sustain itself and continue without leading to a violent split up of the country. And I say those words cautiously, and I don't like saying those words, but I believe it to be the truth. If the Nigerian government now does not get on top of this situation of what's taking place in Nigeria, and has been now for a number of years, if they don't get on top of it and start protecting their people, particularly the Christian community and the moderate Muslim communities that are being attacked, if they don't stop this, this is going to lead to broader bloodshed throughout Nigeria and probably a splitting up of the country. And it's that dramatic.
Hello, good afternoon, viewers. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Mr. Chinedu Michael, let's look at this contentious issue talking about Nigerian corporate existence. As we have it, the Fulani militias, the Fulani terrorists have succeeded in dragging Nigeria division to the United States of America. A situation where a former U.S. ambassador talking about Sam Brownback have clearly unequivocally said that Nigeria should divide to save life. We shall listen to him and we'll come back to further this conversation. Let us allow our viewers listen to him. Welcome back. Mr. Chinedu Michael, react to this.
Okay, let me just say it that I've been saying it on this platform. What has Nigeria become of these days? Not even before now. Right from 1943, 1953, 1967 till date, it has always been the same story. But unfortunately for Nigeria government, they thought the world wasn't watching. Just like what we saw in Iran. Iran thought that the world wasn't watching. The world has been watching Nigeria. I do not want to say the United States government are going to compromise in this issue. If they compromise in this issue, then God is going to send a helper to Christians in this part of the world. The problem is that we are seeking a Christian nation that will protect Christians in Nigeria, since that Nigeria as a government has fallen under the threat of Islamization. A lot of U.S. congressmen, a lot of, I can tell you, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, we can tell you about Ted Cruz, who has been deliberately on his own devoted time to document what is going on in Nigeria, to the surprise of the United States government under Donald Trump, that led them to set a particular panel in the United States of America to unravel the mystery. It is not far-fetched. They knew actually that a certain people have been committing these atrocities for years unchecked. Then that threw up the people of Mazen, like Mazen Namdekano and Simon Ekpa, begin to talk about this development, got the world attention. It is not only some black brow that is only aware of this, but by virtue of his position as a former international ambassador, who was able to call the United States of American president, call the congressman in order that it is time to save the Christians in Nigeria currently now. And Ted Cruz, has also been advocating for the recognition of Biafra as a sovereign nation. Not only that, a former NATO chief also was in the same line advocating for the recognition of Biafra as a separate nation out of this unfortunate entity called Nigeria. Now, how do you react to some people, Nigerians, who are saying the same way the Fulani terrorists push Trump into intervening in Nigerian situation, the same way we are seeing Fulanis pushing Nigeria division to over office, as you have seen it, because this will definitely end at the Trump office, which is over office. There was a report that Nigerian government intentionally sent delegates all over the world to cover up the atrocities that were happening in Nigeria. And the killings are everywhere. But thank God for the internet. Thank God for people like Mazen Namdekano. Thank God for people like Simon Ekpa that decided to get the world attention. If not, the Nigerian government has successfully lobbied the whole world to cover up the atrocities that was actually going on in Nigeria. But the coming of Donald Trump, they saw it as an opening to register their presence globally and begin to get advocacy, begin to get solidarity, begin to talk to different agencies that can listen. Remember that the past administration of the United States of America, was also in line. Like Trump will say that Obama was busy sponsoring a lot of agenda related to the supreme leader of Iran all over the world. So you can see they see Donald Trump as somebody they can actually run to. This is not a matter of whether United States actually want to do the needful, irrespective of what their interest is. Whatever that in their interest is, if they try to do the needful, God will raise people that will do the needful. But thank God, there's so much pressure, so much report, so much petition about the division of Nigeria. And the only country that at the table of the Washington today is the Republic of Biafra, the first Jewish nation in Africa. Now, the question I want to ask is even related to what you just mentioned. What is your saying? What is your thinking about those who feel that what is happening is blessing in disguise for Biafra? You might say that it is. This has been long overdue. The world looked the other way because Nigeria was a former British colony. And that is why nobody wants to say anything, But as it may, thank God for the coming of the media, of the internet, that broke so many things that the world can actually now see that the Biafrans have seen this thing years ago and have begin to run out of it, not to be part of it, not to be part of that calamity. But unfortunately, the same agenda led to 1967 Nigeria Biafra war, and it is still ongoing, till today. So it is not actually what you think, that now that it seems that the whole world is getting the attention, that is noticeable now. It is because the Igbo nation, the Biafran people, started shouting, started crying about today. A lot of them are in DSS, a lot of them are in prison for this particular thing, because what they wanted to was to silence that. But it got to the notice of the United States of America, and there was a delegate that was sent to Nigeria. Unfortunately, that report by Raleigh Moore is still being questionable today, because we do not know what actually Raleigh Moore mean in that regard. But that is not what we are discussing today. But I can tell you that the congressmen, majority of the congressmen are on it now. Thank God for the IPOB members all over the world, different government in exile all over the world. It is about all individuals that are involved. It's not only this powerful organization only. There are individuals who have so much influence within the Trump office, the Igbo professionals and Igbo leaders who have a certain influence within the Oval Office in Washington, United States of America, who are presenting their position on daily basis, especially those of them who also came from Middle Belt, who seem to be very close to the Republican government in America. Today, we can see it is getting a global attention. It is getting international attention. It is getting also, the most powerful nation in the world attention. If America decides today what to do in Nigeria, it's very simple. It's not about the more induced report, because that report did not merit any standard by what the situation of trying to cohabit with the people who see you as a different species unless you bow to Islam. And therefore are saying, instead of cohabiting and this will continue, state police is not going to be the answer. The answer is, allow those who choose Islam to stay on their own and practice their own Islam, and allow those who choose Christianity to practice Christianity in their own way. That is the division we are calling upon. By so doing, there's no need of talking about killings in Nigeria, like some ambassador Black Brown actually said that the only solution the United government is looking at now under Trump administration is total division, breakup of Nigeria as an entity.
Now, let's look at some Nigerians who already say this is double blessing, because as at the last time we saw Israeli Nasset extensively discussing the issue of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB. This time around, we are seeing another one erupting in the United States of America. We know that one thing is sure: Donald Trump and America have veto power over UN voting. Donald Trump decided to send a proclamation to the United Nations for this quest, and maybe the world vote against it. Do you think Donald Trump will veto in the favor of Biafra?
Yes, let me tell you, you are also aware that there were so many petitions and organizations that are also involved in Biafra struggle all over the world. I can tell you over 100 organizations all over the world, including those of them in Dutchland, Netherlands, is also involved. United Nations also have directly have their own fair share of the struggle, and of course documentation is also going on in United Nations. The fear of using United Nations is about the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is no longer needed, and we can see that United States government has distanced themselves from United Nations because they are not performing their duty. They are there to for conflict resolution, and they have spread globally, so it is not a matter of the Biafran quest alone. So what the United Nations the US government should do at this point in time is to invoke on their foreign policies, and that settles it, and go ahead and pronounce the recognition of Biafra as an existing nation. And that is what everybody is waiting for. Then you can see there's going to be a massive retreat from the Fulani, who are almost treating Nigeria as their own indigenous country. and that is the fear. And this thing we are seeing today, you can see that, even those of them from the north have come to agree that the such agenda is actually playing out, and that the government of Nigeria are covering the whole thing and propagating what they know how best to do by continue to manipulate on the process until it become a tyrannic theocratic order that everybody must now bow to Islam, and that is simply the truth. We saw it happen in Iran today. Look at the crisis in Iran today. We saw it happen in Lebanon. Look at the problem in Lebanon. We saw it happen in Israel. Look at it in what's happening in Israel. We saw it happening presently in the United States of America, in New York. They have outlawed anything that has to do with Sharia, and anything that has to do with, it is happening. So why can Ralimo be advocating the coexistence? If that means, in the nearest future, we might enter another problem and entirely. What the United States of America should do is to liaise with what the decision of the Knesset Parliament in Israel, and of course, go ahead and tweet and go ahead and proclaim it just like the way they did in Somaliland. As simple as that. Okay, now let me bring this angle because currently one will be in American Congress. Talking about the one sponsored by the Congressman Ralimo and Chris Smith. That's religious freedom and Nigerian religious freedom and accountability acts, seeking to designate Fulani militias as terrorists, and perhaps seeking to punish and curtail the essence of the Fulani militia members. As we have it, militia members in Nigeria are saying it is a misplaced priority, that they are not back. Speak to us about the activities. Yes, I want to take the position of Mike Arnold recently, where he began to question why Ralimo should be calling for state police now. Where did he get that idea, from? That what the majority people are looking at is that the United States of America should actually come and do the needful. That it looks like Ralimo has actually compromised. I'm not the one saying, and that it will be quite unfortunate that he Mike was part of the system before, but unfortunately somewhere along the line he was sidelined, and they never called him because it looks like Nigeria has actually happened to Ralimo. I must say it the way it is, for posterity to judge at the end of the day. But what we are saying that Donald Trump should look at these things critically and have an independent mind towards what is happening in Nigeria. Nigerian government knew what is happening, and they know where the whole thing is heading into. And now there's a global spread. Global knowledge, recognition, and solidarity for Biafra all over the world. Is it not better that they do it at this point in time to save more lives? Continuous staying together does not guarantee, or you are saying yes, the US legislation or whatever tagged Meiti Allah as a terrorist organization. What of other groups that are under Meiti Allah? What of other groups that might likely spring up today? Are they coming back to still calm them? That we know actually what this people want. The Nigerian government know what they want. Meiti Allah is saying that they want caliphate, they want Sokoto, they want Sharia, they want medicine. Mr. Chidimaka, sorry for jumping in here. You know that the other day, the Sultan of Sokoto, who of course is the leader of the Fulanis in Nigeria, was expressing fear. What would they do if Nigeria divides? And of course, Oshibaja was saying with the current situation that the Nigeria will break up. So, do you share the fear of, or do you sympathize with the Sultan, who is expressing fear that war will likely become their fate? Maybe perhaps because you know that the natural resources that make them to survive is from Biafra land. Let me get your take. Yes, they not have enjoyed the Biafran oil for over 60, 70 years now. They hold the largest share under the Sokoto Caliphate till this moment, and Nigeria are still struggling to become a nation up to this moment again. And they have taken enough than they can in terms of stealing resources from the Biafra land. So they should also use those resources to stabilize. There are resources in the north too they can use to actually stabilize their place. But that does not mean that we are not going to have bilateral peaceful bilateral with whoever, Biafra as a nation, as a sovereign nation, will actually do business with the global world, establish relationship with the global world, So if they deem it fit that as their former neighbor, that we can go ahead, so be it. We will transact with them officially, and that will bring a lot of respect. And I want to realize the significance of a letter that was submitted to her convention recently. Yes, I can tell you, the same matter has been taken to by the group of Anglican bishops all over the world. They have visited the Pope himself, Pope Leo, and they made it very clearly that they cannot stand the togetherness of this country anymore. They said it very loud and clear to the Pope himself. But what we are saying at this point in time, if Osibanjo can come from that perception, and you can see the perception of the Sultan of Sokoto, it tells me that there's so much uncertainty in the land, and what they actually brought to Nigeria had gone out of their control. And the only force that is standing between them and what it is today is the first Jewish black nation in the world, the rising sun himself, the first Jewish black nation in Africa. And I can tell you, it is Biafra. No two ways about that. That's the only obstacle. That's the only thing that is standing to defend every Christian in this country. And they know it. There's a reason why. Okay. Now, I want to take it to this angle. Though there's a video to this effect, where you clearly see a Fulani man from the north criticizing the Fulani hegemony from the north, who came together to remove a Jonathan from office. Remember that before now, we saw a cow Baraje who came out to say that the Buhari and co brought Fulani militias from Mali, Burkina Faso, and co to remove a Jonathan from office. Now, meanwhile, let our viewers watch this video where you can clearly see a Fulani man lambasting the Fulani hegemony from the north on how they remove Jonathan. Now, we are welcome back. The question is, seeing that the Fulanis are crying because most of them are suffering in the hands of Tinubu, who joined them to do most of this things. What's your take? We see the likes of Erfai, Malami. What's your take? The Fulani by nature, they are very patient people. They are very cunning and they are very smart. They keep records and they know where they are heading to. It is a generational war. It is a generational, fight. And we ask ourselves, what happened to the first democracy in Nigeria, where we have Shagari and Alex Ekweme? It was Buhari that came and destroyed that democracy. From there, we have several military where we are today. So there was a reason why they decided, the Arab world decided to impose Buhari as at that time. It is because they want to continue the same agenda. So let it not come as a surprise to anybody if certain people are coming to change the narrative. They know the agenda. They are just trying to confuse themselves. And the only people I'm seeing now who are trying to rise and begin to ask questions are the Hausa people. They have already created a new movement completely now, and any moment from now we'll be hearing Hausa uprising in the north. Go and mark it one day, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took his time, to pass this message direct without fear and favor, and it has come to reality. So the world has seen it really, that this is not actually what they think it is. And at this point in time, there's a reason. There's a clear reason why the Biafra nation should be recognized. And I'm talking about not recognition is what is already running a parallel government. There's a different government in nature. What we need now is, the powerful nations of the world to recognize it as an existing, nation. And of course, what we saw in Iran is part of the struggle. From the way I see it, to stabilize the world, to allow people, we cannot cohabit. Really, no, forget this year agenda. We are not interested. This was not what you had before you came to Nigeria. You have shifted, and I must tell you really more that the truth. Thank God for some black who came out to change that narrative that United States of America are still standing where they are. Thank God for Mike Arnold
Ted Cruz, Mike Pompeo, and so many, James Dunn of the US Congress. A lot of them from Georgia, who are also saying rather more, no, this is not actually what it is. We are going to take our stand either by omission or by commission. And the most powerful thing is the position of the Israeli government on Biafra today, and it calls for a lot of celebration for what United States government is doing to make sure that everything is in place to recognize Biafra as a nation.
Oh yes. I hope that everybody have heard everything the way everything is going, and this our brother he have explained the whole thing the way it is. In fact, is something that is a surprising something that many people don't expect this kind of speech from this former U.S. ambassador, and already Mayor Arnold. So he has been granting interview with Okocha for how many days now and be saying the same thing, that the best way is to let those who want to be, and those who want to remain as one country to remain. You cannot force people to be in a country where they did not accept. In fact, a lot is going on, and that is why you see many chaos, many problem everywhere in Nigeria, because of no any section in this country accept one another. No matter how they paint it, no matter how they do it, the only unity we have in this country is the oil. Had it been there is a way where this oil is there in the north, or they just carry the whole, everything go back to the north, nobody would have been here be discussing about the unity of this country. It's because of the oil. So everybody knows the truth. The only people who benefit from this unity is these corrupt governments. Anybody that is in government, anybody that is in power, they used to benefit from it. Then the rest of the masses will be suffering, will be dying for nothing, for no good reason. So there is no any gain, because you have resources and you don't gain it from it. Then what is the meaning of the resources you have? And the life we are living in Nigeria is not a life. You live a life from hand to mouth. So, in fact, the suffering is much. And the worst part of it is that you cannot even come out from your house to the next door, because you don't know what will happen. You don't know. So everybody is afraid of one another. And then the insecurity is the worst thing. The worst thing in this country is the insecurity. The government, they are not being able to secure their people anymore. So once the life of your people, you cannot secure it, you cannot give them adequate security, and you cannot do the right thing, then meaning that you are already a failed government or a failed state, because the obligation, the main thing that we are expecting, or the masses is expecting from every government, is number one is security. Security. Nobody is telling you to come and be feeding him. At least give him a security, so that whenever he's going, and where he find himself, that nothing will happen to him, and his life will be secure. That is what the masses is agitating for, nothing else. Because if you come to the money, if you come to the resources, if you come to other things, they claim and they hold everything, and they send their children to abroad to go to school to abroad, and they now left other ordinary man in the country for the ordinary man to suffer and die. That is how the country is. And then this time, the American is now hitting on them heavily. I know, and everybody is seeing how Tinubu has been bribing the Washington DC, paying the lobbyists for them to confuse Trump. For them to confuse Trump that things that is going on in Nigeria is not a genocide. And coming to Rarimo, we don't know if it is the same money that they paid the lobbyists. They also paid him, because when he came to Nigeria and they get back to US, the tune changed, everything changed. Then he started discussing that no any place in Nigeria that they talk about the talk of division in Nigeria, when everybody up, down, west, north, east is discussing if this unity can hold. And at the end, you now went back and they tell the people, claiming that no place in this government, no place in the country where they are talking more of the vision of this country. What led Mazi Kano to be in prison today is because of he's discussing about the vision, how the people will be survive, how the people will live, and how the people, in fact, will survive from this insecurity that is happening. If you cannot give them security, allow them to have their own security and allow them to coexist within their own space, not forcing them and not subjugating them into this evil that is happening everywhere in Nigeria. Then the same thing that Samuel Ekpa is talking about. Then the sentence and the same thing that Ojuku called for before the civil war, and still yet that same thing is still happening to date. If you know that you cannot secure the people you claim that it is your country's citizens, then you know that you cannot secure their life, you cannot secure their property, you cannot secure anything for them. Then you allow them to secure their life for themselves, because meaning that they don't have a government. Then they need to create a government by themselves and find a way to secure their life. Because if they leave everything for the government to secure, meaning nobody will be alive and nobody will be. So that is what everybody is fighting for. But Raymond came, he started discussing other things. Well, we believe that this man's speech will go far, and it will get to American President Donald Trump and also to Nigerian government for them to understand what is happening, because this time around it is not more like before, when people will talk at the end they will just sweep everything under the carpet. This time everything is changing gradually. Well, I would like to comment and then subscribe, and make sure you share it for others to see the thing that is going on in this country. We say thank you for watching.